Hi everyone, my name is Ivan and I'm making a short series of videos looking into my own drawing process, something hopefully that will help out my students and also speed me up. So this is a 30-minute video. It's been sped up to approximately, I should say 31 minutes. It's been sped up to approximately 5 minutes. In this process I picked a small brief of having this fashion model on the left and American military soldiers on the right hand side, and I try to merge these two images into one quick concept. Now one of the successes I think personally of this image was the time restriction. Giving myself a 30-minute time restriction to try to come up with this concept or this idea really kind of sped me up, and I didn't spend too much time noodling various parts. I went straight in and basically trying to set my personal lens speed record. The first thing I did was establish a silhouette, then come up with a very loose, this is another good decision, establishing like a loose line work over the top of exactly where I want the details to sit. Again, the silhouette doesn't necessarily give you that. After that, I went in and just started painting over the top, creating a base color underneath, and then filling in with red, referencing the materials on the model on the left hand side. The other thing with restricting myself to 30 minutes, it enabled me to focus on the areas that are going to be of the greatest focus and concentration on the image. So I rendered the eye and also the right hand side, or the hand that's holding the form of the hand that's holding the gun. I did some more padding on that than some of the other areas. Again, I think one of the things I think I regret that I didn't spend more time on, or is probably the gun. I probably could have spent a little bit more time, because it is also a hard surface focus of this image, and as a result it still works. The image works well, but I think more time could have been spent on the gun. The other regret that I have about this image is in this area coming up pretty soon, I go in with the airbrush, and even though I think initially to establish the shadows, the lighting is very soft, and to establish the shadows the airbrush works pretty well, but I think I went in too fast and too heavy with it. Probably could have reduced the opacity on the layer a little bit. The whole purpose of these videos, well, this video in particular, is going to be establishing why I have certain bottlenecks in my procedure, in my rendering procedure, my drawing procedure, what I do right, what I do wrong, and using this pressure cooker of time of 30 minutes to try to achieve a good result. And looking back at this video afterwards has really shown me some areas that I do need to improve in. This is where I'm talking about that I went in a little bit too hot and heavy with the airbrush. I wish I spent more time on the feet as well, but they weren't necessarily the most important parts of this design. Other things, I probably should have established the lighting a little bit earlier on as far as the hard shadows. I do like those little surface details that I did towards the end here. It is interesting to actually look back on these videos after the fact and see what am I spending the most time doing. And in this case I didn't spend enough time, or I spent very little time I should say, on the line drawing, and then I did a second pass of a line drawing after the fact, and I think that was a good advantage. In some of the future videos I do try to do a little bit more work in line art early on, like really tight line art, and I think it works to the disadvantage of the image, but in this case it worked. The other thing as well is that having this very limited brief of two images completely allows you to sidestep your logical thinking of like, why would you have a red soldier? Wouldn't it make more sense for him to be green? Because in the way this is the brief, right? You need to combine the red with the military. What are you going to do? It can be a mech, can be anything, but those are the two limitations that I've basically forced on myself. I highly recommend that you try this process yourself. Again, it doesn't necessarily matter what the result at the end of it is going to be. You're only going to lose half an hour essentially, and you might actually learn something about your own process whilst you're doing it. Here's the finally rendered image. Again, it took 30 minutes to do. Hopefully, as the more I do this, the better I'm going to get at it. And I hope there was something useful in this for you. Alright, thank you, and if I'm going to have any upcoming videos, please do come and check them out.